Hello everybody, it's been a while since I posted a video on this channel, but given that it's Free Comic Book Day, and I'm very excited about Free Comic Book Day, I thought that I would finally post a new video. And once the semester ends, which is coming to a close, very excited about. I do have finals coming up though, so not super happy about those. But once the semester is over, I'm hoping to get a whole lot more videos, and maybe some different kinds. I'm thinking about doing like some in-depth retrospectives on certain series or certain arcs, or doing like video essay type things, which I don't know if anybody would be interested in those, but I'm definitely excited to try some of those out. But it's Free Comic Book Day, and I went and got some free comics as well as some not so free comics, both of which I'm excited to talk about and show you. But this is going to be another haul video where I just sort of show you what I got and told you why I'm excited about it and why you should maybe be excited about it. And I'm gonna start off with the ones that I bought from the ones I subscribed to, and then we'll talk about the free comic books that I got that I'm sure are going to lead into some very interesting stuff in the coming months and in the coming year. But to start off, we have a solo series for an X-Men that so far has, in my opinion, been pretty good. I'm not reading the team book that she's in right now, but I am reading her solo, and I'm really enjoying it. And that is, of course, Magic number 4, that I'm very excited about. If you haven't tried out this series, I would highly recommend it, especially if you're a fan of the character Magic, or if you're a fan of New Mutants, or just in general, if you like magic fantasy stuff. If you're into that, I think you would really like this book. If you like fantasy and superheroes, this is sort of a good combination of the two. I think it's very enjoyable, very deep. There's a lot to do. There's a bunch of fun comic booky stuff. There's also like a lot of deep examination of trauma that goes on in this series, specifically, sort of dissecting childhood trauma, which, if you know anything about Illyana Rasputina, aka Magic, she has quite a bit of childhood trauma. So this is a great series. I would highly recommend checking it out. I'm excited to read this issue. And then next up, we have another entry into Marvel's big event crossover of the year, and that is, of course, One World Under Doom number 3, which I have been enjoying quite a lot myself. Like I said, it's Marvel's big crossover event of the year. They do at least one pretty much every year. Sometimes they do a couple, but this is definitely one of the ones they're doing this year. Very simple premise. It's in the title. It's one world controlled by Doom, who has taken over the entire planet. He's taken over all the governments of the world, and the superheroes are trying to figure out a way to take down Doom. But it's complicated by the fact that a lot of people, a lot of the citizens of this one world under Doom, are actually not that upset about his rule, and are considering whether superheroes are actually the bad guys all along. This is a very fun book. If you are into Doctor Doom, it's a very fun read. If you like Secret Wars, either the original, which I'm a big fan of, I actually think this original Secret Wars is very underrated, or the Jonathan Hickman Secret Wars, which is pretty universally beloved, I think you will like this. It's a very fun read. If you're interested in Doctor Doom as a character, or just interested in Marvel Comics generally, like if you like big crossover events, big Avengers fights and such, this is a very good crossover event. I'd recommend it. Very easy to understand. You don't really need to know very much about the history of the characters. Very good. Written by Ryan North and drawn by R.B. Silva. Great writer, great artist. Definitely recommend. And then we have, also written by Ryan North, we have Fantastic Four number 31, which this is and as you can see, it's fantastic, and it's got marked down to 2. I'm sort of doing like a countdown to the finish of this run of the Fantastic Four. I have recently subscribed to this one a couple months ago, I want to say around issue 25-ish, and I've read the first 8 issues, so there's a few that I'm missing in between there. But this is an excellent Fantastic Four series. I would highly recommend. Ryan North really understands the appeal of the Fantastic Four. He understands how to write the characters and how to get that family aspect of it while also incorporating action superhero stuff, the sci-fi genre that we associate with the Fantastic Four. And he's also just really funny. I mean, I have just even the Fantastic Four are not like one of my upper level people that I'm like obsessed with. I love the Fantastic Four. They're just not like way up there. But every single issue that I have read of this book, I have loved. I mean, legitimately. It's very heartwarming. It's very funny. It's very heartwarming and also action packed. I highly recommend this. But it is coming to a close. I think issue 35 will be the last of this run. But good news is they're relaunching with an issue number 1 with the same writer, Ryan North. And I think it's going to be Humberto Ramos doing the art. So with the Fantastic Four movie coming out, which I'm very excited about.
Okay, that's fantastic.
I'm sure a lot of Marvel fans are excited about that coming out. So if you haven't read the comics and you're like, well, what should I do? Should I try? Now's a great time with that number 1 coming up in a few months. I want to say it's the same month that the movie comes out, but I could be wrong. Either way, it's very close to when the movie comes out. So if you are excited for that movie, or you watch that movie and you're like, oh, this is great, I love the Fantastic Four, I should read some of their comics, I highly recommend either checking out some of these issues in physical, or if you want to get them online, very, very good reads, and possibly getting the future run that's about to come out. And then the next one we have is the last issue in a series that has been somewhat controversial in terms of whether people like it or not, but I've really enjoyed it, and that is issue 10 of MYX. I really enjoyed this series. There were highs and there were lows, but overall, I would say this was a really fun series. And if you haven't read it, I really recommend checking it out. It really focuses on the fall of Krakoa and the aftermath of that fall, and specifically how the younger generation of mutants deal with the fallout of Krakoa, and how they live in a society.
We live in a society
that has failed them in basically every way. And I think younger readers, Generation Z readers, can definitely relate to that feeling of sort of living in a society that is sort of not giving them necessarily what they need. But in general, I think that's a situation that a lot of people can relate to. But specifically, I do think MYX really is a really nice representative of a lot of feelings that younger people feel. And it's just a really fun book. I mean, beyond that, it's just a really fun book. You have Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, of MCU fame nowadays, and you have Laura Kinney, Wolverine, a very famous character as well. And I really liked their sort of blossoming relationship in this series. They are in an interview by Lanzing and Kelly, the writers, they were compared to like a Batman Superman world's finest sort of relationship. I think that's accurate, and I think it's really fun, and I hope that in the future we continue to see the friendship between Laura Kinney and Kamala Khan continue to prosper as like sort of a world's finest sort of situation, because I really enjoyed that. And then you also have Sophie Cuckoo, one of the Stepford Cuckoos, in there as well. She's very fun, very much young Emma Frost. If you like Emma Frost, you're gonna like the Cuckoos in general, including her. And then you have Prodigy here and Synch, who sort of serve as, like I was saying, this is sort of like a Superman-Batman relationship. With Synch and Prodigy, they sort of become like the new generation of Professor X and Magneto, with Prodigy becoming a professor of mutant culture at a primarily human college in New York, and sort of serves as an analog, or I guess not an analog necessarily, but a continuation of Xavierist philosophy and you have Synch, who is not necessarily fully a Magneto acolyte necessarily, or a believer in Magneto's politics, but he very much is in the vein of sort of an evolution of Magneto's philosophy and Magneto's politics of not bending the knee to human society and not letting go of mutant nationalism and mutant power. And then of course you have Hellion up here, who also has sort of been representative of Magneto's politics and philosophy, but more so the 60s version of Magneto, where he's just kind of, you know, angry and throwing stuff at people and not really thinking through very much. But at the same time, given the situation that was the fall of Krakoa, I think a crash out is pretty justified. So I really don't think you can blame him. All in all, as a whole, I guess what I'm saying is this is just sort of a fun book to look at as a representative of young people in this like very politically turbulent world, to look at different people's reactions to that turbulence, and sort of seeing the ways that different people's situations can affect their political beliefs, right? And then you also have Anole down here, Love Anole, and he sort of represents the guy who like realizes that there are political problems because, you know, as a minority in this case, metaphorically as a mutant, and literally as a gay character, you know, faces multiple levels of oppression, but really just wants to be normal, right? He really he doesn't want to be involved in politics, but unfortunately he is like classified as political just for existing, right? And so I just think there's a lot of fun stuff to dissect in this series. There's just like a lot, I think, to take out of this in the modern world. I think it's, of the From the Ashes books, I think it carries the spirit of Krakoa the best. So if you liked Krakoa, I'm not saying for sure that you'll like this book, but I do think there's a much higher chance. And if you're wanting to see people talk about Krakoa and deal with the legacy of Krakoa, then this is definitely the From the Ashes book that you should be reading. And I honestly am thinking about doing a more thought out, scripted video essay on this series, but I don't know. Let me know if you guys would like to see that, possibly, now that it's finished with issue number 10. And then the last of the ones that I bought, we have Power Fantasy number 8. This is an indie published by Image Comics, written by Kieran Gillen and drawn by Casper Wingard. I think we have Clayton Cowles on the lettering, I want to say. And very good book. Deals, if you liked Kieran Gillen's work on the X-Men, if you liked his Immortal X-Men, I think you'll like this. It covers these like select few superpowered people that have extremely high-powered abilities comparable to Omega level mutants in the X-Men. In an interview, Kieran Gillen said he was very inspired by the concept of Omega level mutants in writing this, and sort of it's very analogous to the Cold War. In a lot of ways, I think that it is sort of Gillen using them as metaphors for nuclear weapons. Very political, very good. I quite enjoy it. And then moving on to the free comic books, which I'm excited because I do love free things, and also love comic books. So that's a great combination right there, free and comic books. First up in this stack, we have The Amazing Spider-Man and the Ultimate Universe Free Comic Book Day number 1. And on the back, we got a little advertisement for the relaunch of Amazing Spider-Man. I haven't been reading the Amazing Spider-Man series for a while. I love Spider-Man. He's one of my absolute favorite characters. He might be my favorite character at Marvel. But we got this because it was free. I didn't have to pay for it. And I'm interested to look at it. You know, maybe I will enjoy it, and maybe I will reconsider and start purchasing Amazing Spider-Man again. We will see what happens in here. And then And then next up, we have Fantastic Four Free Comic Book Day #1, and it also has the plus giant size X-Men sort of intro. Like I said, I've really been enjoying Ryan North's Fantastic Four, and this has Ramos's art that I was telling you about. There's going to be a relaunch of the Fantastic Four with Ryan North, and this is going to be the artist on that book. So I'm excited for this because this will give us a taste of what that combination of creatives is going to be like. Two awesome creators, so I'm sure it's going to be great, but I am excited to see what it looks like in action. And we also have this giant size X-Men advert that's going to be in there, or not really an advert, but like a little look into what's going on with that. Next up, we have Marvel Voices, Free Comic Book Day #1, and there's an original story in here, because these Marvel Voices Free Comic Book Days, a lot of times they'll collect stories that have been published in different Marvel anthologies from Marvel Comunidades or Marvel Pride, but we have an original story about Ironheart in here by the writer Justine Hart, who's writing an Ironheart solo series right now. So this will, which I haven't looked into yet, so this might get me into that series, because I was considering it, because I am fond of Ironheart. I think she's a really cool character. And then we also have Storm on here on the cover, and we have Mystique, and we have this character is from the What If cartoon, which I haven't watched, but I'm excited to see her in this comic book though. And I think we have reprints of the Mystique and Destiny wedding from the X-Men wedding special from like last June, which is really fun. And then I'm not sure what Storm content is going to be in here, but Storm is on the cover, and if Storm's on the cover, there's a good chance that I'm going to buy it. So, which this one I didn't have to buy, it was free. So, love that. Excited to see the Ironheart story. And then we have, I haven't read many comics from this character, although recently there was a crossover. Well, there's an ongoing crossover with multiple English language. There's an ongoing crossover with multiple Marvel properties at this moment, is what I was trying to say. And I've been getting some of those, and I don't know necessarily if I'm going to get into his comics, but this one's free, so I'm going to check it out, and I'm excited because I love this character, love his movies. I had a game of him on the GameCube as a kid that I played all the time. Huge fan. He's huge, and that is Godzilla Free Comic Book Day, IDW. Very interested to look into this and see how I feel about it, because if it's good, I might dip my toes into the world of Godzilla comic books. But I'm very excited for that. Honestly, I think I might be possibly the most excited for this one. Just because I don't really know what to expect, right? I sort of know what's going to be in some of these other ones, which I'm sure they're going to be good, but I sort of know what to expect. This one, I really don't know what's going to be in here, but I know Godzilla is going to be in it, so I'm sure that I will find something to enjoy if my boy Godzilla is in it, because, as I said, big fan of Big Zilla. And then the last one, very excited about, because there's a relaunch coming for this series. And if you went to Free Comic Book Day, you probably know what I'm talking about. And that is the day of filming. This is actually the day after Free Comic Book Day, so it's May the 4th. So this is very apt. And that is Star Wars Free Comic Book Day #1. I'm super excited for this. Look at that art. That's Phil Noto on the art. Super excited. And then you have an advertisement for the relaunch right there. Very excited about this. I've loved Star Wars since like the beginning of being able to speak English. Like, I don't remember not knowing what Star Wars was, and I've been into comics for the last like at least 5 years, 5, 6, 7 years, something like that. 5+, at least, like a bare minimum of 5. But anyway, and most of what I've read has been superhero comic books, but recently I started getting into the Star Wars series, and unfortunately about the time I started getting into it, it got canceled at issue number 50, but they're relaunching with this post Return of the Jedi series by Alex Segura and Phil Noto, and I'm very excited because that's an era that I feel is very underexplored, right? We have a lot of stuff in between the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy, but we don't really have much happening directly, at least canonically, directly after Return of the Jedi. And so this stuff is going to be focusing on Luke Skywalker and the original trilogy gang right after Return of the Jedi, which one of my favorite, probably my third favorite, I would say. I'd say Empire, Revenge of the Sith, Return of the Jedi. Big fan of Star Wars, but those are probably my top three. But I love Noto's art. Big fan of him and his Marvel work. So, which this is Marvel, but I'm a big fan of his Marvel superhero stuff. So I'm very excited to see him in Star Wars. I feel like his style, just look at that. I feel like his style is very complementary with the aesthetics of Star Wars. So super hyped for this relaunch. Super hyped for this, for Comic Book Day, to sort of get a peek into what's going on. And then I think we're also going to have some stuff with like Kylo Ren and Darth Vader's legacy in the Kylo Ren book. I'm not reading that, but it'll be fun to sort of see what's going on there. Maybe it'll change my mind. And then we've got Qui-Gon Jinn up here, which I assume is going to be tying into the Star Wars Jedi Knight series, which I am subscribed to. There's only been a couple issues out so far, but it's fun. It's really fun. I'm enjoying it. It takes place before Phantom Menace. In case you couldn't figure that out by the fact that Qui-Gon Jinn is alive. Spoiler alert for Star Wars Phantom Menace, in case you haven't seen it. But all in all, I'm very excited for this free Comic Book Day Star Wars #1. And in general, I'm very excited for Comic Book Day and the free comics that I got and the ones that I paid for. But yeah, I just wanted to do a quick little comic book haul, which ended up not being particularly quick because I tend to blabber quite a bit, but I hope that you found my blabbering a little bit enjoyable, and I hope to do some more in-depth, like analytical videos that are more than just like me showing you what I got at a comic book shop and talking about each issue for like a couple minutes, and like getting into some like deeper multi-issue arcs and stuff. I think that would be really fun, but either way, I want to do this video to sort of get back in the swing of things. And I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.